Hello, I'm Alana Heim of Prosperity Alignment, and this month I wanted to speak to you about the theme of creating you and how there's an art to creating you. And you know how much I love human design because it's this beautiful tool that shows you exactly who you are. The question is, who is that person? Who are you? And with so many different energies that came down to create you and the essence of you, we sometimes get lost in thinking we're supposed to be somebody we're not. We're supposed to please the world. The energies that are you get to experience through your eyes or through the eyes of others, through the energies of who they are. But there's this question that we often ask, whether or not there's a choice in the matter, right? If all of these energies came into creating you, that sometimes there's this feeling of you have no choice. And I know Ra would always speak of that. And I want you to understand my perspective is there's always a choice. There was a choice in the creation of you and you on this soul level choosing to step into this being on the planet in this form. You made that choice, whether you remember it or not. And every day you experience something new in such a way that helps you to decide how you react, how you think, who you are. I've taken a really deep look recently into understanding myself through the eyes of my family and realizing for the longest time I went with what they wanted for me, what they were choosing for me. And it's not who I am. And when I would fight it and question it, because my intuition knew, there was a level of do it anyway. And please the family and please the people around you and please society and all these things that I wasn't choosing for me. I was choosing because I was told to. I didn't see the choice that I had before me. The art of creating you is that you recognize you have a choice. And through the expression of who you are, you get to choose whether that's a higher vibrational frequency or a lower one. For example, I'm a projector, and there's this level of bitterness that can come in when I'm not being true to myself. And there's a choice around waiting for recognition, waiting for invitations, right? That's my strategy. And if I choose not to wait for them and I push anyway, and I initiate and I try and create and do all these things that are not true for me as a projector type, bitterness sets in. Maybe even some frustration or other emotional qualities will come in because suddenly I'm not valuing myself and I'm allowing others to choose for me. I'm putting myself at the very bottom of the ladder rather than honoring who I am. And if you're feeling that this resonates, it doesn't matter if you're a projector. You could be a manifesting generator who's always tried to push first rather than wait first for something to respond to and then push. Or even if you're a manifester and you thought you weren't here to create and initiate and you listened to everybody else telling you to wait when you really shouldn't have. You should just get out there and go for it. There's a quality to recognizing we were here to learn through the contrast. And contrast comes through every experience. It's part of this duality, this theme on this planet that we experience because it helps us learn. We want peace, but we wouldn't know what peace looked like unless war came into the picture, right? It's that moment of seeing what we don't want and what we don't like and what we're not okay with that shows us the direction to take to get to what we do want. You have this same choice inside of you to decide who you want to be and who that person is, what that looks like. And if you're not okay anymore with certain things and people treating you a certain way, change it. And it all starts in here. And that's the art of creating you. Following the feelings, good or bad, right or wrong, all this dualism that we kind of see, the contrast. I'm starting to recognize and see within family dynamics what I'm not necessarily okay with, what I've experienced through my life, the memories and experiences that are so important to me that I didn't necessarily get or have as a kid or growing up, doesn't mean that that's a negative thing and poor me, right? I don't have to be a victim, but I can change the story. And I can start to see what I do want to create for my own children and potential grandchildren and legacies to go forth. It starts here. Nobody tells me how to be except me. Through the experiences of you and other events that happen, I get to choose the direction and the path that I'm on and to be in a higher vibration, right? Like there's this part of me that's been feeling sad because I recognize where I was still holding on to some bitterness in my life and with family and certain people in my life. And I don't want to feel bitter, but I have to observe it and feel it first to have that awareness to be able to let it go and to shift it and to see where I can understand why I was bitter, understand where I wasn't honoring myself and listening to my truth. And now I get to have more compassion and love through the experience, through the contrast, to understand. So as I was working to be creative and more in an artistic expression, I got to participate in a program where we were to kind of recraft our own story. And I chose to, create this picture and color a little. And that's not really who I've been in the past, but I wanted to embrace that side of creating me and putting art to it. So hence this theme of the art of creating you. And you'll see this picture and you'll see kind of all the verbiage, but I wanted to read to you the quality of me being this teacher and seeing all these things that are my energy, my essence of who I am. And that's what I want to step into more fully. And when I look at this list, there was a sadness that came over because I didn't learn a lot of these qualities, especially from certain members of my family. And we're conditioned to learn, and we're also, in a way, conditioned to start to see the contrast and step out of that, right? Step away from the programming and be who we want to be. So I wrote this: teacher of, it's a long list, love, trust, light, prosperity, healing, value, possibility, emotional well-being, truth, sustainability, harmony, balance, mindset, joy, intuition, grace, adventure, enthusiasm, insight, storytelling, knowingness, connection, individuality, contribution, abundance, integrity, alignment, empowerment, flow, self-worth, gratitude, and forgiveness. And there's all kinds of other really cool words and things that relate to me and the story of who I am and what I'm really stepping into. And I encourage you to recognize who you are because you choose to be you. And even if this wasn't something you learned from anybody, that's okay. The energy of who you really are, that's all that matters. And it's important for you to see you, to be you, to love you, and all of these qualities. And if you're surrounded by people who are not here to recognize the gifts inside of you, that's okay. What are they showing you? What in that contrast can you learn from to see the blessings, to see how you can change your path, change your perspective, and shift into creating more of you. What that looks like. If you're not filled with people around you or surrounded by people who fill you with love, the contrast is that you're wanting more love. And maybe it's just not in alignment with the way you view love, right? I've learned there's been a lot of conditional love in my life, and I didn't know that until I recognized I wanted more conditional love, unconditional love, right? So I'm just telling you that be you and have fun creating more of who you are. And I know that you are so magnificent and brilliant. So please let that light shine because you are a gift, and I'm so grateful for you. Mwah. Bye.